Yep, that's what I was afraid of.
Alright guys, last week I got a ton of parts removed from the interior of the 2.5RS. We have the entire firewall exposed, and we saw what's good and bad about this, which really not that much bad. A few rust spots coming through, but we're not worried about it. And we have everything else ready to start being worked on, but there is a few more interior parts I want to get out before we really start making a crazy mess in here with, rust removal and anything else we're going to do. And I have a ton of parts in the back just sitting here in our way. But today's main focus is going to be removing this headliner. There is this trim piece here and a few trim pieces around the car that I want to get out and pulled so that we can really just have a stripped, gutted shell of an interior of a car. We have a lot of parts we need to move back here, so let's just not waste any time, set the cameras up, and see what we can get pulled out in order to get this headliner removed from the 2.5RS. Thank you for tuning into this week's video, and I hope that you guys enjoy. If you guys are watching and you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to sub to my channel if you're new. We're going to be rebuilding this 2.5RS until it's completed. And leave me some comments in the section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I've been working on the time lapse just because I don't have as much time to do talking. I think it would be necessary just to tell you guys a few things as we go, and I can just chop out the rest. But after you get this unclipped, there's just 3 Phillips screws under here, which is pretty easy. And now we're really going to be working around to the driver's side of the headliner and doing the exact same thing we did on the passenger side. So on the driver's side, I'll kind of explain what we're working with. If you guys watch this video up until this point, it'll be a little bit more in depth, at least where everything is you need to remove to drop the headliner. But we're about 50% of the way there, and it's going pretty well. We've only broken one clip, and that was for this A-pillar trim, which I hate that, but I'll glue it back together and hopefully it'll work later on. I'll do a better job on the passenger side. And I've been threading in all of my screws as I remove them so I don't forget where these belong, because it'll come down over top of everything if you do this properly. There might be one more in the center here. I don't know what's under this. Oh my God. Everything on this side is out, so I'm going to flip the camera and we'll go ahead and I'll remove everything on the driver's side and talk to you guys about it one by one. It'll be quick. This video is going to be wrapped up soon. All right, so let's say you're starting to remove your headliner and you have everything installed. That's what we would go with, because this side's a little bit more together. You have a few clips that you need to remove for the headliner, but you have to actually get these trim pieces off first. So you have to remove this back. This would be your door panel piece, but for the coupes, it's just a trim piece. You have to remove this rear B-pillar and this A-pillar up here above me. So I'll do this really quickly. We won't go over this too much because it's very simple. There's just a few plugs that hold this in, some screws, and this comes right out, and then we'll be removing this B-pillar very quickly. I'm gonna find some new seat belts for this car. These are pretty whooped. Alright, so that unclips in the front super easy, and then we've got a clip back here that's kind of hidden. 2 Phillips screws. And then you do have some screws up here also that are plugs attached to the trim that goes in your door jamb, but this should come right out. And you can see my massive hole in the side of the car. You won't have this hole here if your car's complete. I want to get the seat belt out of our way. Let's go ahead and do that. Before I take that out all the way, get it unclipped here. Set this seat belt right out of our way. It does have an electrical clip. Seat belt. Now we can remove this higher B-pillar piece, which it's pretty simple, but you have to remove the seat belt back there, and there's 2 bolts for the seat belt up there, and that will all come down together. And then the front of this is just clipped in, so I'm pretty sure if we just tug here, hopefully nothing breaks. Ow. There we go. All right, so after this unclips, this kind of slides this way when you get the back removed. So next I would suggest pulling out this seat belt piece that you need to remove in order to get it out. They're a little tight. So there's one back there, it's hard to see. Let's show if I can get it. I think the rest of this will unclip and come down. This is kind of blocking it. There we go. And now the whole thing will come out at once. Oh, there is one more up here. It's kind of hidden. That's okay. After you get the plastic piece down, sneak back in there and get this one. That's all of them. And this will all come out as one. Now, that's very easy. We've got a couple clips, and if you haven't already uninstalled the ones in the back, you'd have to remove a few of them back here. But we're just gonna go one by one and knock out these clips. The next 2 are right here, but before I take those off, I want to take this visor down, because the visor's a little more tricky, and I'd rather have the visor out of the way. And we're gonna get this A-pillar trim off too, I forgot about. So this A-pillar on the opposite side was pretty tough. I think I can do it this time. Maybe the clips will pop better for me. Okay, there's one. There's 2. There's 3. Here we go. I didn't break any on this one, so that's really good. This one came off better. I didn't break anything. Oh, we gotta get this down. Oh yeah, this one's a little tough. You kind of have to. Oh, this one broke. The passenger side was really difficult. This one was actually so easy, but that passenger side was very, very tight. I'm actually just gonna clip that back to the visor. And now we've got these two clips here, and the headliner should come right down. So what I'm gonna do is set the camera up in a better place so I can catch all of it if I do get it out. Hopefully these two come out for us. I guess I didn't think about the rear window. It's got to be this seal here. There we go. Oh. Wow, that's sad. I have to show you guys something. Wasn't expecting. Okay. Wow, this headliner is paper thin. I didn't realize how thin these are. I thought it was gonna be kind of heavy. It's just so thin. Ta-da! Oh, I didn't realize how thin that was gonna be. Hope I didn't beat this up. I can't wait to show you guys this. I wonder how I get this felt off. It's the same thing, I gotta pry it down and over. We'll worry about that for next week. Oh, now I know what that hose is there. That's what that's for, okay. Okay, so now that I've got the headliner out, that's really all I wanted to do in this week's video, just because I'm pressed for time. But there is something I want to show you guys inside of the car, underneath the headliner, and that's going to lead me into the story of this week's video. So here we go. Look at that rust there. It's pretty bad. It's completely through. As a matter of fact, I'll go poke it a little bit to see. Other than that spot right there, it's very clean. I'm gonna explain why. Yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, it's not completely through, but I bet I could. I gotta poke it right through. Hold on. Let's go ahead and. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Ah, that sucks. You know, that's the one thing right here about a sunroof that can really just ruin everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys my story with the rust right in the background. Let me get some light up here. So, the story of this week's video. Before I worked on cars, restoring them like this, and this has only been about a year, I used to buy and sell cars at the auction. I don't know if you guys have gone to my channel far enough back, but a lot of my original content was cars that I bought from the auction and I was kind of flipping, getting ready for sale. And even like more recent ones, there's just a few. But why this is the story of this week's video is because one day, and it relates to last week. I mentioned this in last week's video, so stay with me here, guys. I bought a Mini Cooper S at the auction. All the lights on the dashboard, the thing was flashing, sometimes would start with the key, sometimes it wouldn't start with the key, and it was just going bananas. Now the car was really clean, you know, it was a very clean car. It was like a 2003, had like 110,000 miles, I think. It could have been like 150. I'll look at a piece of paper and find out for the correct information and maybe throw that in the description. But it was a clean Mini Cooper. It had the supercharged engine. It was a 6-speed or 5-speed. I can't even remember. This was so long ago. I can definitely throw a picture in the video. Now I'm going to stop getting off track here. All the lights were on the dash, and it was doing some kooky stuff. So the first time it ran through, I won the bid for $2,200, and the guy wouldn't sell it to me. So I saw it coming back through the lane maybe like an hour later at another lane at the auction, and I was like, I'm gonna try and buy it again. I ended up winning the bid for, I think it was either $1,200 or $1,600, which was a steal for the car. And you know, I had already bid 22, but the guy sold it to me for 12 or whatever I bid, and I was like, what in the world? Why would this guy sell it like that if he didn't sell it the first time? And I think what had happened was he realized how bad of condition the car was in, and you know, he knew that there was some bigger issues that, you know, weren't disclosed, which it's not the auction's job to show you what the issues are. You have to do your due diligence. So all these people on the internet are always talking about, ooh, hidden damages and, you know, the auction lied. That's really not true, because, you know, if you're buying from the auction, do your homework, check out the cars. It's not the smartest just to be buying things blindly, and that's one of the reasons why I don't shop so much, because I don't have the time to go check out all the cars. Anyway, let's fast track to what was wrong with the Mini Cooper. When I got to the car, it wouldn't really start with the key. It was super strange because we knew it was just running, and I felt the floors, and there was about 1 inch of water in the floor. Like, it was just soaked, okay? And now I'm just gonna pretty much cut right forward to what the issue was. These pipes in the Mini Cooper, okay, and this is a common problem in a lot of cars. The brand new Escalades just had this issue. These pipes get clogged, okay, that are from the sunroof. And there's one here, there's one for the front and the back, and they get clogged, and then what happens, water builds up here, or it builds up in the A-pillar, and it'll find its way out because it's not going through this hose that's the drain pipe. So in the Mini Cooper's case, it was coming down this A-pillar all the way down, right down this piece of the door frame, and right there, literally right there, is the main wire harness for that Mini Cooper. You can see I have 2 little clips right there. The Mini Cooper's was like, the BCM is right there, and the main clip to it, everything right there. And interestingly enough, they had a clip to a clip, so that it wasn't just right to the BCM. It was like there was a big clip harness there. So what I ended up doing was I pulled everything out of the Mini Cooper. I pulled the carpet out. We pulled all of the A-pillars, everything, and let it dry in the sunlight, which literally took a month of letting it sit outside of the car. It was that wet, and I didn't have an extractor. But I mean, it was just crazy how wet that floorboard, that carpet was soaked. If you get your carpets wet like that, you'd be surprised how difficult it is to get them dry. Okay, so then what I did in order to fix it was I cut every clip out down there, and I hardwired it together. There was no more separating the harness. I hardwired all of it. I soldered all the wires and used heat shrink, shrunk it back up because I thought it was pretty important. Sometimes you could just use butt connectors, and after I did that, I'm not kidding you, the car ran flawlessly. It fixed every issue. So what the issue was, the wiring harness connector was just so corroded with electronical acid and corrosion that it just wasn't working. It couldn't send the signal to start it with the key or run the car properly. So the guy ended up selling that to me for $1,200 for that issue, and I think he knew the first time he tried to sell it. I don't know why he didn't just sell it to me for the 22. Me and my dad talk about that all the time. Like, what was this guy thinking? But to keep the story short, just because you already understand what I'm getting at, these hoses clog, and it'll cause major issues in the car. Now I know where these run to outside, so I'm gonna end up probably disconnecting these and blowing air through them and trying to find out if I can roll this window back with some power, if I could figure out why it's so bad right here, because this is really bad, you know. And I can probably weld up a piece for this. I'm not actually sure what I'm gonna do. If I might just like put some really good sealer and then put a metal piece over this, because I don't know what's above it, if it's metal, if I can weld here. But we're gonna try and fix this because obviously we can't have a big hole here under my headliner. But that's the moral of this story. Sunroofs are great. I really love them, and it's like one of my favorite things in a car, but look, it can cause some serious issues. It was like the 2020 Cadillac Escalade out of the factory, not even 5,000 miles on these cars, and they had to recall them because this was leaking, and when it was a bad rainstorm, it would just dump into the car. And you know, that's a huge issue. You know, all these new cars and electrical, thankfully this one's a little older, so this didn't affect any of the electrical. Obviously it didn't even get much past here because it was sealed. I just put the hole in there. But yep, that's that, and that's the end of that story. So I know I talk a little bit too much, and that's just part of my channel. That's, you know, that's what I want to share my experiences with everybody that watches. I've literally done every kind of job you could ever think of, and it's just funny, as I go through this Subaru, I thought of that one, and it directly relates because guess what, we just pulled the wiring harness out, and I was talking about that last week, and then what do you know, it's literally happened in this car. So it's not terrible, and honestly, if you look at the rest of the roof, look how clean this is. And I imagine that the entire interior was this clean coming out of the factory, where the paint is completely sealed, untouched, just in such beautiful condition. This is kind of what you expect. So now that I think about it, even on top of that, this is just, I just noticed this. This is the frame for the sunroof. So I bet I could take this down completely, because I could see how it just bolts to the top of the shell. So we're actually gonna just remove this, I guess. Maybe that's what I'll do in next week's video, because I am pressed for time. I do want to give you guys more content, and I'm trying my best to make it work, but I just have to change my schedule because the way my full-time job is going recently, I'm just busy every single day, and it was hard for me to find time to get here to work on the 2.5RS, and it's going to be even harder for me to edit my videos because usually I do that at nighttime, and all of my work leads directly into, you know, the early hours of the morning, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So yeah, that's it, guys. We got the headliner out. It was really good. It wasn't too difficult. I just broke one. Yeah, I only broke like 1 or 2 clips totally, and that's not bad at all. The main one is on this A-pillar for the passenger side, and yeah, I'll get that fixed. I'll glue it up really heavy, and you know, even if I have to put glue on it when I put it in, it'll probably be the last time I ever take that out. So yeah, I'm personally thinking of custom ideas, what we could do with the trim, if I'm going to spray it all black, if we're going to go something with like a color for the interior, if I'm going to do like blue carpets and a blue headliner, or black and black. I don't know. I don't really like the gray headliner, so we're definitely going to be changing the color of that. So hey, if you're watching the video at this point, just let me know what color you think I should make the door trims and the trims in the car and the headliner pieces, because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. You know, I want to be building this car together. It's not just me. I love your guys' ideas, and everything that you guys contribute means a lot to me. So next week though, I promise that I'm gonna have this interior completely cleaned out, and maybe not stripped down completely, but everything out of here, because you know, you can see we have just so much stuff. I'll probably just see the light. We've got so much stuff in the trunk, and you know, we've got stuff down here. We just have a huge mess that we really need to clean up. So that's it. I know I just spent 15 minutes talking, but you know, the video was short, and you know, if you didn't want to watch all that, you could probably have clicked away anyway. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate all of your support and all of your time watching my videos. We're gonna grow this channel to be something special, and I think most of you guys already know that. But I'm out of here for this week, and I'll catch you in next week's Subaru Saturday. Peace out.